That was not
Test, 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 test,
Tammy Little.
test. Test, test. Test.
Has this been sanitized?
Test, test, testing, test, 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 testing. Okay, great. This is a delay.
I need to get.
Give me the thumbs up when we're ready, Solomon. Mr. Solomon Hill. Good evening and welcome everyone to the Ravenswood City School District Governing Board meeting of October 14th, 2021. I will open the meeting at 6:31 p.m. and I will take roll call. Vice President Shabomahin. Here. Trustee Alexander.
Here.
Trustee Polito.
Present.
Trustee Bloom.
Here.
And I myself am present. We will move, quorum is present. I will move on to item number 2, which is the approval of the agenda. If we have no comment or additions, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Through the chair, I'll make a motion to approve item number 2, approval of the agenda.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. And now we will move on to closed session. Before we go into closed session, I will open the floor to anyone who would like to address the board on any matters that will be addressed in closed session. And there are none. So we will move into closed session and we will be back at 7:15 p.m. Thank you. I need to
No,
know what the time is.
they were from leftover stuff, so it's all good.
We will resume open session at 7:25 PM. I will report back on what happened during closed session. There was discussion for item number, there was no discussion during item 3A. For item 3B1, there was discussion and no action was taken. So now we will move on to item number 5, which is from the floor. So if anybody wishes to address the board on any matters that are not included in this agenda, this is your time. As I see no speakers, we will move on to item number 6, which is the consent agenda. I will entertain, all in favor to approve, no, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank
I
you.
will second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. So now we will move on to item number 7, which is special recognition. And today we have a special resolution, so I will kick it back to Trustee Alexander. Up to you.
So this is a proclamation resolution number 2021-2022-6, recognizing October 2021 as LGBTQ+ History Month. Whereas the Ravenswood City School District respects the rights, freedom, and equality of those who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer. And whereas all students deserve to feel safe and welcome in their schools and to learn about historical figures who are LGBTQ+ and have achieved greater equality for all people through civic, legislative, and judicial action. And whereas on July 14th, 2011, the Fair, Accurate, Inclusive, and Respectful Education Act was signed into law, mandating that instruction in history, social science includes the contributions of LGBT individuals to the economic, political, and social development of California and the United States of America. And whereas on July 14th, 2016, the State Board of Education adopted a new history, social science framework that ensures that the roles and contributions of LGBTQ+ people and peoples with disabilities are accurately portrayed in K-12 history instruction in California classrooms. And whereas Ravenswood City School District recognizes and celebrates October 2021 as LGBTQ+ History Month, now therefore be it resolved that the Ravenswood City School District affirms the commitment to ensuring the rich history of the LGBTQ+ community is shared.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2021-2022-6, recognizing October 2021 as LGBTQ+ History Month.
I would make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-2022-6.
Thank you.
I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries 4-0. Now we will move on to item number 8, which is from the Technology Department. I will pass it to our Director of Technology, Solomon Hill.
Good evening, board members. It's great to see everyone in person.
Are you okay?
We're here at the tail end of our technology construction. We've been doing a lot of upgrades of infrastructure here at Ravenswood School District, all the classrooms, all the wireless, all the network. And as we enter a new phase for the district in terms of technology connectedness, we're here tonight to talk about a very exciting, innovative project that we expect to really put us on the leading edge of what's going on here in Silicon Valley. Tonight's proposal is to approve an agreement with Page and Turnbull and Just Design for engineering and design services for a very special project called the 8 to 80 Esports Center project. And I'm going to introduce John Colleton, our AV coordinator for the district, who's done a lot of multimedia here in the district for many years, and formerly worked with the 49er Academy as well, running video projects, et cetera, for us, and helped us get AV going for tonight. So he's really our audiovisual specialist that we've been relying on for some time. We're seeking $130,000 of bond funds for the project, and I'm going to let John explain what the Esports Center is all about, how exciting it is, how it's a partnership of many people, and I'm going to let John take it away.
Thank you, Solomon. Trustees, superintendent, good evening. So I just wanted to take you quickly through, where we are. The 8 to 80 zones are a national effort of Steve Young and Jerry Rice and their foundations to promote technology and STEM learning, hands-on project-based learning. And in the recent years, they've opened 2 centers, one in Atlanta, one in Florida, that focus on really hitting STEM hard. For many years, I worked on centers that were primarily multimedia based. That's what the 8 to 80 zone at Castaño School and 49ers Academy was about. And now we've moved kind of into the next generation, which is a focus on esports, robotics, hands-on STEM learning. And our real goal is to align with the CTE pathways and career pathways. And so I was asked by Forever Young Foundation and Jerry Rice's representation to come up with an idea, kind of a bigger idea of something that we really wanted to do to impact our students. And that's how the 8 to 80 Zone Esports Center at CCRMS kind of came to be, and we've been working on it. So I'll take you through where it's going to be, some images, some basic images that we've begun to work on. So, do I have control? No control. Okay, well, what we're going to look at here in these first few slides that are coming up are basically the impact, the reason why. And there you see it in front of you. Equity, alignment, engagement, and enrollment. Yep. So as I kind of mentioned, these are the focuses and the main features. You can see the multimedia component here. Programs we've been running for a long time. And then coding, digital arts, performing arts. These esports and the robotics, which as we know is happening with Tina Collier on campus as we speak. This is really how we're moving into. So this is kind of the new area. But this is what, as we know, this is what's important. The equity, because we know what our students deserve, and they deserve this. We're talking about approximately 6,500 square foot new building full of the state-of-the-art technology, and for them to explore any area in engineering and computer science, even back to perhaps some manufacturing, anything that's in the CTE pathways is what we want to make available to them first day when they walk on in 6th grade. Okay, I'll go back one. So that's the alignment. Engagement is that hands-on learning, that up on their feet, working on projects, as I always liked with my students, meeting deadlines as teams, kind of more real work environments. And then what's critical there is enrollment. As a result of our students' experience, drawing families and students back to our district, because there'll be nothing like it. We're moving in that direction, and what we want to do is add to that momentum of keeping our families and drawing our families back, because they want to go through this educational process and they want this to be available to their students. So the physical, in this area here, where the pergolas are now, we have the music room, the old library. This is the area right here. That will be the footprint. This area would be knocked down in the building. We do want it to be a centerpiece of campus. And what we also like is that with the arts and the STEM classrooms that are here in the music classroom, we think the adjacent programs make a lot of sense and have this being kind of the heartbeat of campus. And as we all know, with all the other bond projects that everyone is, our community has been working hard on, this is just adding to that momentum. So this is a layout that we've been working on. This is just a basic floor plan with an idea. I know you can't see it, but it would be a pretty open space here with a stage, esports competitions. If you're aware, high schools actually have esports varsity programs these days. So we want to be kind of in line with that. We know that's where our students' interests are. But there's a lot, not just playing the game, but what it takes, what's behind the game, all the production opportunities. So you've got the studio broadcasting area. This is a teaching area where you've got enough stations for an entire class. And this is our floor plan. We kind of, this kind of look here, this open door so students can be coming and going for class. And then this is an existing esports center and a studio there. Now these are our initial concept. These are drawings, renderings that I drew when I was kind of asked by Jerry Rice and Steve Young to, develop something that we hadn't done before, bigger than they had done before in my work with them. And I kind of went pie in the sky, and they loved it, and they were excited about it. And it also allowed Steve Young's firm, HGGC, that's right over here at the Four Seasons Center. It's also going to give them a chance to really engage with this community. And they want to kind of be the lead of a business that will actually have a presence here, whether it's financial literacy or programs that they can engage in. And so they were just incredibly excited about this. And Steve Young's second son actually is a huge gamer, and that actually kind of sparked some of the interest in it. So we'll take it. So we're really excited about that. So what the $130,000 we're asking for tonight is going to basically pay for phase one. And phase one is going to be our design process with Page and Turnbull. This is going to get us all the way so we have actual rendering that we can then take and create construction documents, engineering documents, and that will be phase two where we can get permitted. And what this does is this allows right now we're gauging probably conservatively a $10 million donation of in-kind labor and materials by, right now our lead partners are Gelati Construction from Santa Rosa and Trubeck Construction, who are right here on the peninsula. And they've stepped forward to lead and organize a coalition that's going to raise that $10 million number. So this initial investment by the district will trigger all those things. And by the end of the phase one is completed, we'll have our materials to fundraise and move forward. I think that's the basic information. I just want to leave it there and see if there are any questions, any things that I can clarify.
Thank you. We'll take comment from the board. I see no comment from the board. We will open for public comment. As I see none, I will entertain a motion to approve the consideration of the agreement with Page Turnbull and Just Design Proposal 8A.
I will make a motion to approve item 8A, the consideration or the agreement with Page and Turnbull and Just Design proposal.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The motion carries 4-0. So now we will move on. Oh,
Thank you,
congrats.
Mel.
Thank you. So now we will move on to item number 9, which is from the Business Department. We will jump down to 9A, which is a consideration to adopt a policy targeting 17% general fund reserves goal. And I will pass it to our CBO, William Eager.
Good evening, trustees. Tonight, setting for my first ever in-person presentation after talking with you guys for a year. I'm going to focus just on the executive summary tonight. I'm not going to go into any detail on the additional slides, but happy to answer any questions on them. Over the last couple of years, we ran a surplus for a year, ran a deficit for a year, and we ran a modest surplus last year. We know that going forward, the amount of one-time funds that we've received over the last few years are likely not going to sustain. So we want to be clear for our community that we're building these reserves up with the intention of spending them down, not just building up sort of big reserves. In order to make that a little bit clearer for folks to understand, we're proposing sort of splitting out the funds that we're keeping in our general fund, which are really there for economic uncertainty, which there may be some, and then taking the rest and using that to sort of have as our surplus that we're intending to spend down over the next few years as part of our pandemic response. To make that really clear, we're going to put some funds in general funds to Fund 1, and then we'll have additional funds in Fund 17. So anybody can go on and see exactly where that is. The question then, how much should we have in our reserves in case of economic uncertainty? We did some research, and there's no right answer to this question. This is sort of a subjective question to some extent. We've done some research. We've looked at what experts recommend, looked at what other districts across the state have recommended, and where we're kind of landing is 17%. Another way to think about that is it's sort of 2 months of spending is about 17%. So that's our recommendation. Again, if someone's sort of like, why not 18%, why not 16%? There's not a great reason. There's no material difference in my mind between those percentages, but we think 17 is sort of about the right number. So what we're proposing doing is setting that as a informal target. What that means is we.
Sorry, can we move this speaker back so I can see the? Sorry, I can't see the top.
Thought it was something I was saying.
I was trying to like make motions. Okay, thank you. That's perfect.
Speak into the speaker.
Yes, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, so our plan is to move about 17%, create 17% as a base reserve that we'll have for economic uncertainty in Fund 1. Everything else will go into Fund 17. Oh, this isn't a binding target. I think Trustee Sabomian asked about this a while ago. We can still dip under 16% or 17%, go down to 16, 15, 14. But the idea is that we would still work over time to build back to that 17% reserve target, unless there's, of course, economic uncertainty that requires us to dive into those reserves. But that's sort of our thinking here. Any questions I can answer on this? Or sorry, that's the end of my presentation.
Through the chair.
Trustee Alexander.
Super fast. Have you looked at what other districts, surrounding districts have as their reserves, and is it comparable?
This is all the districts in California. We found that size is the best predictor of the level of reserves. And if you look in that red box there, you can see districts of similar size. The bottom is the percent of their fund that they have in reserve. And you can see there's sort of a tight distribution, largely around that sort of 10 to 20% level. And so we're proposing being sort of in the middle of that. Obviously, running too high of a reserve basically is depriving your students of extra spending. Right? So we don't want to go too high, but we also don't want to go too low. So there is a downside to running too big of a reserve.
Thank you.
Vice President Shabomian.
Did you choose 17% because it's Fund 17?
I was wondering if somebody was going to ask that. That is actually a coincidence. We did not do that. We also explored 16.66 and realized that number also had some connotations, so we decided not to do that, even though that is technically 2/12.
Now we will take comment from the public. See none, I will entertain a motion to approve I will entertain a motion to approve 9A, which is a consideration to adopt the policy targeting 17% general fund reserve school.
I'll make a motion to adopt item 9A.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries 4-0. And for the record, I will highlight that for item number 7A, 8A, and 9A, trustee Anna Maria was absent. So now we will move to item number 10, which is from the superintendent's office. For 10A, we will have an update on district COVID-19 response, and I will pass it to Superintendent Sudaria.
Yes, as Solomon gets the presentation up there for you to view, we'll just give you a brief update on our COVID-19 response. Just starting with the guidelines, just want to emphasize that we continue to follow. May I have the? No worries. I know, being in person. Going over the guidelines, and then we'll talk a little bit about vaccinations, our COVID testing, and then notifications that we make. So just want to emphasize that we continue to follow CDHP and county guidelines to keep students and staff safe. And it's not just one, it's all the one things together that help us prevent spread and keep our students, staff, and families safe. So we constantly are still making sure that we focus on the specifics like hygiene, making sure we're wearing masks, trying to keep distance when we can, being mindful of the ventilation system and making sure that we have our filters in our rooms. So with all of these things put in place, again, we are increasing safety by mitigating the risk. So our schools and offices still require masks for all indoor and outdoor activities and events. So back on October 7th, specifically, 9-Bay health directors lifted indoor mask mandates with specific guidelines and criteria being met. But CDPH, I should say, continues to require masks indoors on K-12 campuses. So that includes all of our schools. Ravenswood City School District's COVID safety plan continues to require that every adult and child to wear a mask while on school and on district sites. So hence, we are all wearing masks. And I just have to go back here. This is our 6th grader with her 6th grade peers at Outdoor Ed. Just this past week. So we had over 100 6th graders participate. In regards to vaccinations, we are excited to share that nearly all of our staff are vaccinated and many are starting to get their booster shots. So you see there the percentage of certificated and classified staff at 96 and 94% respectively. The district recently hosted 2 after-school vaccine clinics at the Cesar Chavez Ravenswood Middle School, specifically targeting students who are age 12 and older. And almost 40 people got vaccine shots on Friday, September 10th at the middle school. We've partnered with the City of East Palo Alto, Youth Community Services, and Lookout Health. We held the clinic again right after school. We held the clinic right after school to make it easy for students and their families to get their shot. Then we had a follow-up clinic a couple weeks later, October 1st, for folks to get their 2nd dose. But we also were able to have staff get their booster, and some of those individuals also need to get their 1st dose. In regards to vaccinations for our children, more and more eligible middle school students are reporting their vaccination status to us. So at least 57% of our students got their 1st shot and 47% are fully vaccinated. We received word and to this for us, and our vaccination rate is higher than the national average for 12 to 15-year-olds. So that's great news. We have 384 middle school students who are eligible for the vaccine. 217 students have reported receiving at least one shot, and 181 have reported receiving both shots. And this was as recent as yesterday. As we have heard, the vaccines are coming soon for children 5 to 11 years old. So Pfizer has asked FDA to approve their vaccine for ages 5 to 11. Children under 12 will be given a lower dose than for adults. The lower dose was shown in trials to be as effective in children as the adult size dose and with fewer side effects. The FDA will meet October 26th to review results of Pfizer's clinical trial, and they are expected to approve the vaccine for children ages 5 to 11 as soon as November. We are already exploring hosting more clinics at our elementary schools. We want to make sure it's easier for families and students to get vaccinated. Just so you're aware, in the context here locally, 86.3% of our community in Palo Alto has been vaccinated. So in terms of, COVID testing, we have the number of students tested here to show you each week, and it's growing steadily as more families give consent. So you can see here the percentage of students on the right that have given consent, and those students who have not given consent on the left, or families who have not given consent on the left. And then you also see the number of COVID tests administered by each week. So the blue are our students and the red are our staff. So as of last week, we had 1,132 students tested and 165 staff members who are either unvaccinated and tested or are vaccinated and requested to be tested. Obviously, it's not 100 staff members who are unvaccinated that needed to be tested because of our percentage. So you have staff who also just want to make sure that they are not positive, even though they're vaccinated. So the weekly COVID testing is helping us catch positive cases early and prevent the spread. So what you see here are counts of positive cases who were on site during infectious periods. A positive case is someone who is tested positive or was diagnosed with COVID by a medical professional. So you notice a spike there. We saw a dozen cases in our first full week of school, which was largely reflected students who started school COVID positive. We didn't have the screening the first week, and that first case was self-reported. And then you notice that our screening process was initiated on the first full week of school. And then you can see testing allows us to catch these asymptomatic students and prevent further spread. While we don't want positive cases, testing helps us catch infected people sooner and reduce the risk of spread. And we do anticipate having 2 to 5 cases per week over the next several weeks, given that COVID is circulating. And in terms of notifications, as soon as a case is reported to us, we contact San Mateo County Public Health and send out notifications. Our point person for the district reports all COVID cases to San Mateo County Health as soon as practicable. typically within 24 hours, and we use SPOT, which is California's case reporting system. We then send a general notification to school staff and school-based agencies as soon as possible after we learn that someone in the school tested positive. And just so you're aware, specific notification is sent to folks who are close contacts with requirements based on key COVID exposure criteria. Some of that criteria is listed on the right. So this notification is sent to individuals considered a close contact to an individual in our community that tested positive to COVID-19. Close contact, as a reminder, are individuals who were in proximity to a person who tested positive less than 6 feet for more than 15 minutes. So if we do have a positive case in the classroom, we consider all the students in there as close contacts, and we place them on modified quarantine.
I will turn to board comment. Any board members wish to comment on this matter? So I just want to say thank you to Superintendent Sudaria and staff. I had requested to bring this update before the board because I think it's extremely important that we are transparent in where we are and where we want to be, and to continue to share and hold us accountable that we are doing what we said that we were going to do, which was reopen schools and maintain safety during this pandemic. So this was a great presentation and a great update. And so I just want to say thank you to the staff. So if we don't have any other comment, clap, clap. We will move on. Oh, we have a comment?
Through the chair. Just wanted to also emphasize that in terms of the number of staff who are unvaccinated, it's
Awesome. So now we will move on to item number 10B, which is the first quarterly report on Williams Uniform Complaints 2021-2022.
So I'm happy to report that we do not have any formal complaints for the period in July and September. And all school districts are required to adopt complaints regarding construction materials, facilities, and teacher misconduct or vacancies. And so we were able to verify that no complaints were made under those 3 criteria.
Do we have any board comment? And we have no public comment, so we will continue to move along. So now we're down to item number 11, which is from the board. We will move down to item number 10B, 11B, correction, which are board reports and communication. I will quickly highlight that Anabatangi Polynesian Voices is having another community event that's happening this Saturday at Bloom House, 2555 Pulgus Avenue. And it's a youth event, and they'll be having a lot of fun activities on Saturday. So I hope you join.
Through the chair,
Trustee Alexander?
I also want to mention that this month is also Filipino Heritage Month, to celebrating people in America of Filipino origin. And go Giants. Got to get it in there.
Through the chair.
Trustee
I actually
Polito?
wanted to announce that Dr. or Superintendent Williams from Sequoia High School District will be hosting a town hall at Tide Academy, which is in the Bellhaven portion of Ravenswood City School District. And if you know any community, on November 1st, I believe at 5:30, it'll be in person. And if you want to get to know the new superintendent, the goals and vision of the district and how it aligns to Ravenswood. And because one of the main goals of the district is to increase collaboration with feeder districts, which, as we know, we are a feeder district to Sequoia. So I want to invite the board and any community person tuning in to join us on November 1st, I believe at 5:30 at Tide Academy in the Bellhaven community.
Thank you. I also want to highlight, last night, the Sequoia Union High School District Board adopted a racial equity resolution that was really historic for the Sequoia Union High School District. So if you haven't checked it out, I believe the board meeting is online, but they basically came back and answered a lot of the calls to actions that community members had put forth to the district earlier this year. So I wanted to highlight that as well.
You were part of the community, I believe, committee
Yes,
that
I
was
was one
urging
of-
action, President-in-law too. So yes, that was also a great accomplishment. But I did mention the town hall mainly because I'm extending the invitation to you all. I'm sure you'll probably get one via email. But there's a lot going on with equity being the focus, one being the resolution, and it just goes beyond. So I encourage everybody to attend.
Wonderful. Any other comment, questions, announcements? Wonderful. So just to highlight, our next board meeting will be held on October 28th, 2021 at 6:30 PM, and open session will be at 7:15 PM. Just also note that we are back live and in person. And with that said, I will adjourn the Ravenswood City School District Governing Board meeting of October 14th, 2021 at 8:02